Morning, guys. Just going to go through the answers to yesterday's lesson for you, so you can mark them and check to see how well you've done. Now, it's obviously quite hard to mark inference because, as I've been saying, there is no right or wrong answer as long as you justify what you think. So, first task that you had to do was have a look at this picture. And as I said, some of you would use your prior knowledge to infer, and obviously we have to be really careful in reading that we don't do that and we're just answering based on what we can see in front of us. Okay, so what three things can you infer from this photograph? Use evidence to support your inference. Remember, these are my inferences. You might have some of these, you might have your own ones, that's absolutely fine. So my inferences are, I can infer it's an extremely busy place because there are lots of people. I can infer the people stood on the balcony must be important because everyone is watching and looking towards them. And the third inference I've made, I can infer the man in the middle is making a sign of peace because of how he's holding his hand in the air. And then I thought closely and I really looked and I thought, actually, he's making, it looks like a V, doesn't it? So I wonder if that somehow links to VE Day because of how he's holding up his hand. Then you had a look at this picture, and we've labelled here for you who these people are. What three things can you infer from the photographs? Again, these are my inferences. I can infer that people are happy because they're smiling. All of them are smiling. I can infer that they're wealthy or, have lots of money because of their clothes. I can infer the king and queen here and here are waving to people because of how their hands are held up. And actually, I can also infer that they're all looking out to something, aren't they? Then we asked you to infer this quote written here in red. We stood outside and shouted, "We want the king. I think it was one of the most memorable nights of my life." That's what our current queen, who is here in the picture, said. Now, the inference that I make from this is I can infer that the Queen felt proud of her father and proud to be British because everyone was demanding to see her father. And we know from this information up here that their crowds were jubilant, which means that they felt really, really happy because a synonym for jubilant is happy. Okay, so today's lesson, Wednesday. First thing we want you to do is predict. So we've got part of the text here, just as we do in our reading lesson. What type of text do you think this will be? Use evidence to explain your answer. I would expect at least 4 different answers under here. So thinking about the layout, we're just looking at the layout. What type of text do you think this will be? Just looking at what is written and how it's set out. So we've got 9th of May 1945, The Southern Herald, 1 shilling, Victory in Europe by our current affairs reporter, Mr. Bentley. So that's task 1 today. And then when you have done that, we want you to have a go unlocking the meaning of these words here. Revellers, surrender, crowds flocked, Trafalgar Square, and the Mall. Remember steps to success for unlocking the meaning of a word. First thing, is there a root word? Second of all, what do you think the word class is? Look at the position. And all of these words are in this text here. Third of all, does it sound positive or negative? Fourth, read around it. Are there any clues in the rest of the sentence or the paragraph to tell you what it means? Fifth one, if you really, really don't know, try and put your own word in the sentence to see if it will fit. And of course, last of all, if you're really stuck, look in a dictionary. Once you've read this, so I'd pause it now to read the paragraph. We want you to have a go at these retrieval questions. Remember, retrieve means the answer's in the text. How much did the newspaper cost? When did the event happen? What date? And be careful because this is a trick question. When did the event happen? And third of all, where did the revelers go in London? If you've never been to these places, here is a picture for you just to see where they are. So Trafalgar Square is in London, and it's this place here. Some of you might have been. And the Mall is outside Buckingham Palace, and it's here. You've probably seen it on television. Some more words we want you to unlock, ready to look at the text tomorrow, are these words here. So you're going to be quite busy in this lesson today, unlocking the meaning of these words. The King's coronation, bunting. You should know that if you heard me talk in yesterday's lesson. Wealthier, Union Jack, carefree, Nelson column, tablecloths, relief, national anthem, and bittersweet. So we want you to also unlock the meaning of those